Welcome to Take 10. Now, I know by the comments and the things you're writing me in the private messages that many of you are really enjoying what we're doing, but you might not enjoy this so much. But I promise you, at the end of this segment, of these segments of where we're going right now, self-check. Can I help you with a self-check? Nobody likes that part of it. But when I help you with a self-check, you will gain all the years that I have had where many times I was a cave dweller. What does that mean? That means I'd go to a great meeting, see a great church, see a great program, see a great this or that or the other. It would put me into a cave because I would begin to measure myself by all that I had seen, and I would begin to hear insecure thoughts. And you think, you? Yes, certainly me, and certainly you. Everyone is going to be in this lane of traffic. It's like a semi-truck coming head on at you. Self-check begins to look at you and talk to you in a way that maybe no one has ever talked to you before or told you it's all right to think the way that you need to think. You see, I have some people very close to me that I grew up with, people that I love, people that I've been able to sit on the sidelines, not involved in their world. I left their world some 25 years ago, but I've watched them progress through their world. And they became exactly what was put before them as greatness. We all measure greatness. But we all measure greatness in many ways. I'm going to talk about that in these 10-minute segments. And I watched as one who was very close to me, started out, no history around church. Father was a farmer, a very successful man. Brothers were farmers and equipment dealers, very successful. I watched him as he came in to a religious world, came into a church world, and I watched him go through and hit every mark that they placed for him. Now, that's success. But is that what God called him to do? I actually understand it a lot more than I can give you illustrations for, but may I say that this gentleman has come all the way through from no understanding in the religious world, no history, no backing, no nothing, to now he sits on the board of their denomination and helps to guide them quite adequately, I must say, quite well, I must say, has grown a very nice church, it's very beautiful, it's magnificent in the city it sits in. He is helpful to missionaries around the world, and in all rights of success, no one can say he's not a success. But if you and I were to talk to him in the dark of the night, unfulfilled dreams and unfulfilled desires are present. Now you say you're dishonoring him. No, I just gave you a picture of a man who came in as a young man to a system that held up in front of him things that he followed, things he believed in. But all along, God is not a cookie cutter. And even with my father preaching that God is not a cookie cutter, that God doesn't make copies, copies were made. And people became those that were in front of them. But what questions me, and having lived long enough, I can speak out. You have a desire because God put it there. The desire was not because somebody put it there. God put it there. But when you begin to live out your desire to form your corporation, to go forward in your church, your ministry, to help others, to do things. Man, I just met this guy who came forward in Harvey, the last year's hurricane in Houston. He came forward. Everything he had ever really wanted to do for God, he started doing. And now he has a building. I'm helping him. We're sending out materials. We just sent out in the last 2 weeks over 25,000 pounds of food to him to get him started in a setup and to keep him going. Man, when I got the pictures of all the things he did in Harvey and all the things that I'd heard about, and I met him, I was completely blown away. But his father, having been a minister, was not in the mold of other ministers. His father followed what God called him to do, and he was a bivocational pastor. And you know, it's a dirty word in denominationalism. Or the question is, are you full-time? Well, how much more full-time can you be if you're operating a business or you have a job and you're doing your ministry on the sideline? And I'm thinking about one of my great friends who's in the ICCI, who is a fantastic guy in the construction world, working hard every day, 8, 10, 12 hours, but still finds time to feed the homeless. Still finds time to go get the supplies from those that donate to him, and we're one of his donors. We're one that fills. In fact, he's coming this week on a day that he has off to get water, to go to the homeless, go to the streets. I admire that. Let me ask you the question, how much more full-time can you get? And then other people ask you these old worn-out questions from religiosity. How many does your church run? Well, how many are you running now? They ask you this worn-out old questions. Where are you meeting? Are you full-time yet? It's a bunch of country stuff that has no bearing on what God has spoken to you to do. So this series, and it's going to be a long one, maybe 10, 12, maybe 150 minutes of 10-minute segments. It's going to be a self-check where I'm going to help you understand something. You say, well, you're just throwing out honor. You don't want to honor those people that came before you. That is not true. It is showing your own spirit. It is showing what you're thinking. Let me help you if you'll just listen. I can give you a self-check, and boy, I just checked one of your oil, and you need a quart. Because I'm not against all that I was raised in. I'm not against someone putting something up before you, but I do have some clarifications to make on making sure you don't get lost in the stuff and prove yourself by others. The Bible is very serious. My father used to teach it very regularly because he too was worried that men would compare themselves one with another, one man's work against another man's work, and that they would be bogged down in religiosity of trying to make sure that everybody thought good of them except for the Lord. Because the Lord's only going to be pleased with you when he is seeing you in the place you're supposed to be, in the land he's given you, in the world he's given you, and in the work that he's given you. Don't try to expand the vision. I promise you, if you'll do the work of the Lord, the first self-check is, are you operating in the work he has given you? Not the work somebody else has given you, not what you think will make you a success or make you great, because true greatness goes from idea, hear me, from idea to servanthood in that idea, because you're going to serve the idea for a very long time, to fatherhood in the idea, where you are at the place that you are fathering. Yes, you are impregnating others with the work that you do, giving them a seed, not the whole enchilada or the whole tamale. You're giving them a seed so that they can go into the land that God gives them, and they become a part of true greatness. So it's very serious with me, and I'm wanting you to be a part of this, so you don't want to miss one of the segments, but let's just go to Deuteronomy 5:16, and I want to leave you with this because I want you to understand the power of a self-check. So here they are. There's a few self-checks in here. Number one, honor your father and your mother. They gave you their best. They gave you what they were thinking. They put before you, and we're going to get into that in this next segment, they put before you the things that they thought would make you successful. Honor your father and your mother. As the Lord your God has commanded you, how well are you at following the commandments of God? Now, honoring your father and your mother doesn't mean that you follow your father and your mother off a cliff. You have to follow God because he commands you. But you can honor your father and your mother and give them the honor for the due my parents put into me, the desire to work. They put a work ethic in me like you can't believe. You do not understand that it was more important to them that I learned to work than I went to school. We went to school, of course, but he put me to work. I mowed lawns, I mowed the church lawn, I was involved in everything that there was, lifting, hauling, shoving, pushing, learned to ride a tractor at a very early age. My mother always pushed me toward ministry. I honor them for that. It was as the Lord my God has commanded me that I would honor them. Why? Number 3, that my days would be prolonged. When you listen to Dr. Rex, he's 91. He's getting ready to drive himself back to Tulsa. He's been to Tulsa maybe 4 times in the last 3 months. He's went to North Carolina. I mean, I can't keep up with the guy. He's living long. Miss Betty's living long, 86 years old, healthy. Their parents lived long. But when you hear him talk about his mom and his dad, it's with honor. No, not with approval of everything they did. He saw the shortcomings, but he did see the honor, and his days are prolonged. Why? Because, number 1, honor your father and your mother. Number 2, God's commanded it. Number 3, that your days be prolonged. And number 4, that it may go well with you. Back up. What's your mind telling you about your parents? I love to see the way that Kevin Heron operates with his mom and dad, Delbert and Eloise. I love that. He honors them. He honors the work they've done, and it's going well with Kevin. In the land which the Lord your God gives you. It's your land. I just thought about another one. I love to see L.T. Chong work with his mother. I'm close here in the city, and I see them. I love to see him. His mother is going to his church as he's carving out a ministry there and a mission. She's right there. That it may go well with him. It's going well with him. Why? Because it's in the land that your Father, the Lord your God, has given you. So what you're doing, go back and look at get your corporate book out. Open it up. That is the form in the funnel. And ask God to fill that vessel up today with power and authority for the mornings that's coming. Not the night times that's coming, not the stormy days, the mornings that's coming. The bright mornings are coming to you right now in Jesus' name. Do a self-check, and don't you miss the next segment of this portion. God bless you. I'll see you next time on Take 10.